Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Motor City Uncut, episode 164, presented by the Major Sports Network, Detroit. I'm your host, Dorf, joined each and every week by Major Sports Network founder Adam Hernandez, and the guy who's making a ton of noise off to my left, Sean Bell. Quit hitting crap with I don't know what.
I'm trying to make my headphones work, alright?
Oh, yeah.
Now I can hear. Jeez.
Yeah, just keep banging stuff on a pole over there. Stop! It's annoying. Dad! Sean's being annoying. Supposed to come up with some quip about it. All right, you two now get along.
He's probably like, shut the hell up in this talk.
I don't care.
I get two.
Mom!
You don't have two children to referee, so I suppose it's not that bad, but yet. Because you don't have to deal with the, well, so-and-so won't stop touching me, or he's breathing on me, or yada yada.
No, it's funny because my son, like, he tells on me all the time. Like,
he tells on your wife.
Yeah, he'll go up to me.
Dad's not
sharing.
Yeah,
he'll be like, tell Daddy to stop, or Daddy's being mean, or like when I yell at him, I'm crying. Or like this morning too, like when he was getting ready to go to school, like my wife was taking him, and he's like, Mommy, tell Daddy not to touch my books. So he had like these books sitting on the table and he didn't want me to touch them. So
now, how much of this, how much of that is your wife telling him to say that stuff when you're not around?
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she doesn't tell him at all. I'm sure it's just
this is a learned behavior.
Yeah, it's just him. Yeah. So
all right, let's get into it on this March 12th, 2018. Fresh off Selection Sunday, which was last night, and we'll get more into the shit show that was that presentation on our next program, which is the Majors Live, immediately following this one live, or you can find it at themajors.net if you're trying to find it out and listening to us on the replay. Specifically, we're going to talk about the roads to the Final Four for both the University of Michigan and Michigan State. Both teams are 3 seeds in different regions. Michigan State gets the Midwest 3 seed, putting them at LCA, and Michigan gets the 3 seed in the West, which means they get to go to Wichita, Kansas. Yeah. Michigan State's opener is Friday at 7:10-ish, depending on if the games in front of them are on schedule. Mm-hmm. And the Wolverines play the final game at Wichita, expected tip 9:40 p.m. on Thursday.
It's not bad.
9:40 Eastern.
It's not bad.
It's like that good old West Coast hockey. The Wings used to be in the Western Conference. They go on those
it wasn't even
10-day trips.
I mean, they'd be going on at like 10:30 sometimes at night.
It's pretty much how like the Tigers play when they're on the West Coast.
Yeah, like the 10 games they play out there all year.
I still stay up and watch them. I don't care.
15 games or whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure people will be up and watching intently and screaming profanities when things aren't going their way at 11 o'clock at night on a work night. So not only the Wolverines not get the local, despite winning the head-to-head and having a higher RPI, they get to play 10 o'clock at night on Thursday. So, we're going to go through and compare kind of who's got an easier road or the better road to the Final Four. Just playing likely matchups with essentially the favorite's going to win, except in the cases of necessarily the head-to-head against these respective teams here. Michigan's first round matchup Thursday night, as we said, is with Montana. They are the champions of the Big Sky Conference. They finished the year 26-5. And their RPI is 76th. So they are an automatic bid qualifier. However, there's a lot of people out there saying Michigan's going to have a game here. Not necessarily picking Montana to win, but this is not going to be a pushover. Your guys' thoughts about this game?
I agree in some sense that it's not going to be one of those pushover games. Now, keep in mind a pushover game in this sense would be winning by 20.
Yeah,
that's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen here. I mean, it's the NCAA tournament. I mean, it seems like in most circumstances, games are going to be closer than they normally would.
Mm-hmm.
and that's not to say that Michigan's a perfect team too. I mean, I think a lot of people need to keep in mind as well that they're still kind of a small team.
Mhm.
And I think Michigan gets past them. I think Michigan's trouble obviously is going to be later on down the road. Houston, next one that comes up, is going to provide a far greater challenge
Oh, absolutely.
for the Wolverines than Montana will. But Montana's not a team that I don't think Michigan can look past, and I don't think they will. I think that's something that John Beilein has done very, very well with during his tenure as Michigan head coach is not getting his Michigan teams to look past certain teams. They did it. I mean, they didn't look past South Dakota State a couple of years ago. They didn't look past VCU. I believe it was the last year that Shaka Smart was at
Virginia
VCU.
Commonwealth.
Yeah, and they played them very, very well. They played that. What was Shaka Smart's defense called?
They fucking press and press and press.
Yeah, and they were able to counter that very, very well. So I'm confident that John Beilein is going to have his team ready for a team like Montana, who could possibly come out of nowhere and surprise, any team in the first round.
Yep.
So,
Sean, you got any thoughts?
I'm like they're gonna get past Montana. I think easy. Obviously, I'm a Michigan fan. Whatever. I'm just gonna go with my heart.
Homer.
But the first half, I think I truly feel that Michigan's gonna struggle a little bit the first half because of this big break that they have off. Even though they were on that hot 9-game winning streak at the end, and a week and a half off without actually playing a game.
It's 10 days. 10 days off.
So about a week and a half. So I think they're gonna struggle a little bit to kind of get going. And then I think the second half, they're just basically going to light it up, hopefully, and just get past them.
Sure. We're going to go bounce back and forth here. So Michigan State's first round matchup is with Bucknell. They are the champions of the Patriot League and RPI ranking of number 80. Bucknell, this is not your Bucknell of old, who's actually won a couple games recently in the NCAA tournament. They did finish 25-9 on the year without anything necessarily to write home about. Kind of for the reason, Sean, you just said for Michigan may struggle. Michigan State is actually, by the time they take the court, will be off for 12 days, which is kind of a big concern, especially for the team who's been starting slow, even on what do you want to call regular rest here late. I don't think that can necessarily kill them in the end because Bucknell doesn't have the firepower to stick with Michigan State once they get their shit in gear. I don't expect anything but less than a 20-point win, but don't be surprised if they're having to make some free throws in the last minute to stave off the fighting Bucknell team. I don't even know what their mascot is.
No, I know this. I know that Michigan State fans should always be wary about teams like this, especially considering what happened to them a couple of years ago against Middle Tennessee State. Sorry, Dorf. But I mean, you're right. I mean, Michigan State has too much firepower to be getting in a back and forth with a team like Bucknell in the first round. I don't expect Michigan State to have much trouble with a team like Bucknell in the first round. Especially to Bucknell's a team that Michigan State can, and I'm not saying that they should play like this, but they can get away with a guy like Miles Bridges kind of disappearing in long stretches throughout the game and not putting up the points that they may be expecting out of them. Michigan State, in a way, can get away with something like that in this first round matchup. That's not something they're going to be able to get away with later on, though. However, if they do start off slow, I'm confident that Michigan State will be able to recover from something like that against a team like Bucknell. Now, you hope that doesn't happen, but it's recoverable. It's manageable. They're not playing Kansas. They're not playing, they don't have the first round matchup or that Michigan might have in a sense. But definitely you want to see Michigan State start off strong, especially after that long layoff. So,
and on that point, so Bucknell has some size. Two of their top three scorers are 6'7" or taller. And they're not necessarily small at the guard position, although the leading scorer is only 5'11", which is usually a big problem for mid-major teams. So Michigan State may not necessarily have a size advantage, but they definitely probably have a strength advantage going into the game, and definitely a depth advantage. So I mean that should be not a problem.
They're good at getting the ball control, and I think they're going to take that over control. And especially even though they have the 12-day layoff, I don't think that's really going to affect them as much as as people think. They're going to come into this game with momentum. I think a lot because after losing to Michigan State, losing to Michigan in the Big Ten tournament, you're a rival. You're going to be pissed off about that. You're going to come in and just you're playing a team like this. You're just going to take everything out on them.
In these first round matchups, it all comes down to talent. Mm-hmm. And when at the end of the day, Michigan State is one of the most talented teams in the
just
entire
think about
nation.
It. You've got Big Ten champ against Patriot League champ.
Exactly.
Who's going to win that game 99 times out of 100?
Exactly. I mean, we've
seen it all season with Michigan State how good they are all around.
To the fact that it's in Michigan State's backyard and Bucknell's got to travel across the country. So.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
All right. Next, a likely matchup for Michigan is with Houston. They're the 6th seed in their region. Very popular potential upset here of Houston defeating the Wolverines. Houston has excellent guard play. Guard play plays in March. This may be the one time that the defensive talent of the Wolverine backcourt can be challenged by guard play, specifically against, they're not going to necessarily see that against potential future matchups against UC and Xavier, UNC and Xavier. That would be my concern. However, I still think that Michigan has enough to get it done, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Houston Cougars, who finished second in the American Athletic Conference and have the 18th RPI team, don't give them a run for their money, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not defeated, or they don't defeat the Wolverines, rather. Your thoughts, guys?
How I see it, Houston is good defensively wise in the guard situation, no doubt about it. This is where you're gonna see in this game, Mo Wagner and Duncan Robinson, your bigger guys who are down low are gonna take advantage of this because I think they have perfectly fine ability to take over Houston's down lows. So that's where I think they're gonna take advantage of it. Hopefully the guards like Simpson and all the other guys that can handle the ball just think, hey, let's just pass the ball, give our big men the ball down low. And, obviously the big man for Michigan can shoot outside too. So you bring those bigger guys outside, they're going to struggle. Houston will with the outside with the big guys down low. So
I wouldn't be surprised if, like I said, they don't give the Wolverines a run for the
money.
Well,
yeah, they probably will. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout or anything like that, but they definitely will. This is like you said, Houston will give them basically their first challenge, I think, of the season on the guard systems. I don't think Michigan's really played a team defensively
with elite guards.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you may be able to say...
You could say Michigan State maybe a little bit, compared,
but... honestly, man, dead serious, Houston's got better guard play.
I'm just saying who's the closest one that Michigan's played so far this season. You can maybe say Purdue, maybe. I don't know. So this is. I think Houston will be their biggest challenge of this whole tournament. So
sure, Adam, your thoughts?
I think it again. I mean, I may sound like a broken record, but I think I've been very, very impressed with John Beilein and the way that he's able to have his team ready for games like this. I think Michigan wins this round. I think yes, Houston does pose a big problem for them when it comes to guard matchups here. But still, I think from an all around standpoint here, when it comes to coaching, when it comes to when it comes to overall depth, I think Michigan still overcomes it and they move on. Again, that's not to say though that Houston's not going to pose a problem to them. I think they will, but at the end of the day, Michigan moves on. That's just the way I see it.
And here's the thing: lot of experience on this Houston Cougar team. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much all JUCO guys. All advanced in, their leading scorer, Rob Gray's a fifth-year senior. Second leading scorer, Corey Davis, is also a fifth-year senior. So A lot of experience here. Not to say that the Wolverines don't have that, but I think this is going to be their toughest test. Potentially the entire tournament run. Next, we're going to move on to Michigan State's potential second run matchup that'd be against the 6th seed in the region, Texas Christian or TCU.
Next.
TCU did finish 21-11 on the season, which is good for 5th in the Big 12. They're the 26th team ranked in the RPI rankings. Big 12's overrated.
Okay, what's next, Duke?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get a couple seedings in this tournament. This being one, another one being Alabama making it as an at-large at number 9, a number 9 seed, and a couple teams like St. Mary's not making it at all. But this is one that I don't get. I don't get why the 26th ranked team here has 11 losses. I don't get that either. I think Michigan State is in a prime position to roll easy. Your guys' thoughts? You got anything to add there?
Not really. You pretty much explained it.
Same thing with you, Adam? Nothing?
Yeah.
All right, next potential matchup. That would be UNC and Michigan. This would be in the Sweet 16. The Wolverines do have a head-to-head loss against North Carolina earlier in the season, and it wasn't close.
Right, they lost by like 14 or something.
Yeah,
like
it wasn't even that close. So UNC did finish 25-10 overall. They are 4th in the ACC, but they also have the number 4 RPI ranking here. Michigan is honestly the hotter team now. Let's see how they survive the first weekend if they make it this. Both teams make it this far. With that in mind, this is more of a toss-up, I think, than the Houston game. I think this is the Houston game is more in doubt potentially than I think this UNC game is. Honestly, I really think if Michigan makes it this far, they have a good shot. If they make it kind of unscathed and don't still have the whole Saturday to Thursday or Friday to recover, and prepare. But I don't know. I think that second time's the charm in this case. I think the Wolverines have a good shot here if this matchup plays out.
Could be close. I think, but top to bottom, I mean, UNC is just a better team, and I think this is where Michigan kind of hits a wall. I mean, when it comes to strength of schedule, when it comes to RPI, when it comes to points per game, I mean it's all UNC. Can Michigan make it close? Yes.
Well, I don't play defense in the ACC.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the points per game metric.
Well, I mean, aside from that, that's just one factor in all of this. I just top to bottom, I think UNC is just a better team. I mean, I think Michigan keep it close, but when it all comes down to it, like I said before, I think talent will ultimately win out. And I think UNC is a more talented team than Michigan.
So on your, I know we'll get into brackets on the Majors Live, which is next, more specifically than this. But is this where you have the Wolverines bowing out?
Yes, I do.
What about you, Sean?
No.
You have them winning this game? Okay.
Yes, I haven't won this game.
We'll save it for a little bit later. But any thoughts on UNC?
I'm like I agree with Adam about the all around better team and all that stuff. But I think going into this tournament, obviously, like I can keep saying the momentum. I sound like a broken record too. The momentum is coming in with Michigan, even though we have that 10-game delay or whatever. I got something stuck in my throat, but I truly believe if they can come in playing Montana and Houston and have that momentum going, I truly believe that they can take out North Carolina no problem. It just got to keep that momentum going. Can this young group stay? Have that endurance to go that long.
It seems like Michigan always has momentum going into these tournaments. Whether it was overcoming that
very much finish strong.
Overcoming that plane crash last year, and having that run against where they what was it, the year prior when they beat Louisville. I mean it just seems like Michigan in some sense runs out of gas. They always hit a wall, and I think UNC's too battle tested, too talented all around for Michigan to keep that up against. Now, I like the credit that we're giving to Houston and in some sense Montana too. But I think we're giving them a little bit too much credit in the sense that, oh, well, if they get by Montana and Houston, then
Smooth sailing from here.
yeah, UNC should be.
So you're basically saying that Montana and Houston's going to basically take
No.
the energy out of
no,
Michigan.
not at all, not at all. I think Michigan is just going to get beat by a better team when it comes to the Sweet 16.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, next we're going to go on to Michigan State and Duke. Duke does have a head-to-head victory this year against Michigan State. They finished 26-7 overall, second in the ACC and number 7 in the RPI. Coach K owns Tom Izzo. 1-10 is Tom Izzo's record against Coach K in any scenario and throughout their entire career. And my brain says that sort of performance will continue, although my heart disagrees. I think this is where Michigan State bows out.
They're not going to be able to keep up with them.
I wouldn't be surprised if they win. Marvin Bagley got knocked out with like 5 minutes into the game in their head-to-head matchup, and Michigan State still lost. And guess what? Now he's ready to go, fully healthy. I don't think Michigan State has necessarily the thunder power at the guard position to keep up here, especially how poor their 2-guard play has been of late. So that being said, I think this is where Michigan State bows out, but I give them about a 10-15% chance to win.
I give them more than that.
Yeah, I give them at least a 30-40% chance to win. I'm like...
You guys have more faith in them than I do.
They've played great all year round.
No, they haven't. I think they have. Garbage the last month.
Okay, the last month you say they play the guards.
Arguably the most important. What have you done for me lately?
True, but I don't know. I feel that they're gonna give Duke a run for their money and all stuff. I still think they have a better chance, 15 or 10%, like you said, to win. But I think they have a better shot than that.
Okay.
It's put up or shut up time for me when it comes to Tom Izzo and Michigan State teams. I mean, I'm tired of seeing Michigan State teams be all hyped up. We have Miles Bridges back here, Nick Ward. I mean, you go down the line when it comes to Michigan State teams. Michigan State team, especially this team, is built to go head to head with Duke and beat them. I'm banking that Michigan State finally does that this year and moves on and finally makes some good headway in these tournaments, something that it seems like we're always expecting out of Tom Izzo every single year just about, but it never happens. And I'm giving Tom Izzo and this Michigan State team one last chance to do this. If they don't do it, then I'm losing a lot of faith going forward in what Michigan State can do from here on out. But this is what they're supposed to do. This is why Michigan State was ranked with Duke as the 1-2 team at the beginning of the season. I mean, Michigan State should be able to go in, and again, I won't be
neutral site. They should be able to get this done.
Yeah, they should be able to get it done. And if they don't, then what can we say about Tom Izzo going forward when it comes to this?
He's Coach K's bitch.
Well,
pretty much.
Yeah, he is right now Coach
Even
K's
if he
bitch,
wins, he's still Coach K's bitch.
True, but
he's climbing the ladder a little bit.
But yes.
Oh yes, he's doubled up his career win total head potentially here.
But I mean, I guess I'm tired of seeing Michigan State be hyped up. I'm tired of people talking about them having the best team in the country. But when it all comes down to it,
can't get it done.
They can't get it done. I'm saying this year they get it done at least against Duke.
Okay. And for the sake of time here, we need to kind of move on. If everything plays out with the higher seed prevailing, Michigan's matchup would be with Xavier, and Michigan State's would be with Kansas. Honestly, both teams match up very well with the opponent. Bill Self's a freaking moron, and Xavier's out constantly overrated. I think, honestly, the Sweet 16 games are going to be more of a challenge than the Elite Eight games. So we will cover that next episode if we get that far. How about that? We'll kind of see where things shake out after this first weekend.
I think they play Ohio State if they get by North Carolina.
I think so, too. I actually have. In both, I filled out 2 brackets. I always fill out one with my heart and one with my brain. The heart being a Michigan State victory no matter what. I have I have Ohio State beating Xavier both. So, Next, we're going to move on to some Lions stuff here to finish up the show. Legal tampering period begins tonight at midnight.
Yay!
Hooray! Lions have brought in veteran running backs DeMarco Murray and Jonathan Stewart for visits today. Would you be okay with the Lions signing one of the two of them? I'm not asking for both. And then skipping on drafting a running back entirely, or signing one or the other of them and then waiting till later in the draft to address the running back position. Your thoughts, guys?
I wouldn't be too opposed if they can get him to a decent, get them cheap.
At this point, they're going to be 1 year.
Right. That's all I care about.
Or it'll be a fully unguaranteed second year.
Right. And out of those two, I would prefer more of a Jonathan Stewart because you're looking for that big guy.
That's a lot of miles on the tires, man.
If it's only a 1 year deal, I don't care. He's that big guy just to give him a ball down low.
Okay.
You know, that's his job. That's what his job's been pretty much.
Short yardage back.
Yeah, that's pretty much what his job's been the entire time because he's always been behind
D'Angelo Williams was the in between the tackle back. They were kind of the same player.
Kind of. But, I just feel that out of those two, I think he'd be better if we got him. But to be honest, I would prefer not to get either one.
Okay.
So
Adam, your thoughts?
It doesn't matter either way, really.
Do you want
both of them? Both of them are better than what they have,
right?
By a lot, actually.
Really?
DeMarco Murray had his worst season last year. He still outrushed Amir Abdullah, who was the Lions' leading rusher by more than 100
Didn't he outrush
yards.
all the running backs for the Lions?
Not collectively.
Not collectively, no.
Oh, okay.
Amir Abdullah was the Lions' leading rusher last year. I think he rushed for 552 yards.
Yeah.
I think DeMarco Murray was at 680 or something.
680, and he actually missed some time, didn't he?
Yeah, and that was his worst season. So,
and how old is Murray?
I believe they're
both 30.
30.
Both 30?
Yeah.
Okay, so they still have a couple years.
They're both 30 years old. I think, Dorf, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Jonathan Stewart does have a lot of tread off the tire.
DeMarco Murray is well. I mean, Jonathan Stewart.
I know, but
at least split carries early in his career, or pretty much split carries the entire time.
The way I look at it, from what I could remember by looking at both these two guys, it seems like DeMarco Murray has had more recent success than Jonathan Stewart has had.
Yeah, correct. And a lot of that has to do with splitting of workload with Jonathan Stewart. I think if he was the guy per se the entire time in Carolina, when he wasn't splitting carries at the beginning with D'Angelo Williams and most recently with Christian McCaffrey, I think it would have been a little bit different story.
I'd love to see him cut Amir Abdullah, though.
I don't think you need to, because you're not going to save any money. He doesn't cost you anything. There's no pain to even keeping him around and not dressing him, just as a depth piece.
Okay,
fair
enough.
Or he barely plays.
I just don't, because I want them to go out and I want them to get a veteran back. That was something that I thought they should have done last year.
That's on your list.
Mm-hmm.
I would like for them to do that, but in addition to that, I would like to see them go and make a move on a running back in the draft. I'm not talking about a fourth or round guy or later. I'm talking about a guy potentially in the
first
second
2 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think they
do that regardless of whether or not you sign one of these two.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I want them to totally reshape their running back core here, because it's something that cost them at least 2 games last year.
Okay.
At least.
I would say I'm not interested necessarily in either of these guys without the money being incredibly right.
No, that's fair. And me too.
I'm talking like LeGarrette Blount cheap, like the last 2 years where Blount's just sat there and all of a sudden you get him for $1.5 million, $2 million, and then he goes and leads the damn league in rushing.
No, but I'm with you. I'm with you on that, Dorf, because that's
my price point.
No, but that's the NFL today when it comes to running backs, though. Especially veteran running backs who are over the age of 30.
Just think about this: a guy who was very comparable to both these guys that was on the free agent market last year, Latavius Murray, signed with Minnesota for $3 and $15, if I remember correctly, as a free agent last year, and then they went and drafted Delvin Cook in the second round. I think you could kind of see. I don't think either of these guys, because they're 30, a little bit older than Murray was, will get 3-year deals. But you could see a 2-year deal at $4 million, 2 and 8, 2 and 9, something like that. Some unguaranteed money in year 2. And I think that would be a fair value for both sides.
And the thing is too is it's not like either of these guys, whether you're talking about DeMarco Murray
But I'm not going to be upset if they miss out on one or both.
I'm not. Ultimately, I'm not going to be that upset about it either. Although I would like them to get a veteran back, but I mean, you've got to keep in mind too, and I'm sure this is going to be one of the sticking points in negotiations. It's both of these guys lost their jobs.
Yep.
Whether it's Jonathan Stewart to Christian McCaffrey or DeMarco Murray to Derrick Henry. So, I mean, I
don't necessarily think either guy lost their job. You know, in Carolina, it's more of a Thunder Lightning duo, whereas they've decided to move on to him because they don't want to commit to a guy who's 30 years old. Whereas, you know, you could kind of see Derrick Henry taking over the load at the end of the year in Tennessee, whereas neither of those two were very talented at catching the ball in the backfield. So you don't really have the Thunder Lightning duo where they just decided to move on and fill that role with somebody else. You could argue DeMarco Murray lost his job mostly because of health. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That's what you're going to get. Good for running backs that are healthy don't make it to free agency. See Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. Guys don't make it there if they're 100%.
How old is Le'Veon Bell?
27?
26, 27? Yeah, something like that.
Well, he's also under the age of 30. Too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. He's got more mileage than both these guys. He's done in 5 years what these guys have done in 8 or 9 in workload. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
Adrian Peterson's going to be a free agent.
Yes, he will.
Not interested. All right. Next, any interest in the Ndamukong Suh reunion?
Are you interested in Ndamukong Suh?
Hell no.
No. I wish I could bring back tape of Dorf sitting here.
Oh yeah, we should totally keep him.
We should make. They can make it work.
Can we delete those out of the archive, please? No. I would need one hell of a sweetheart deal for this to happen.
It's not going to happen. Go ahead.
It's not going to.
No, I know.
I would need like one of those 2 weeks before training camp. Kind of like the deal you saw like Neil Walker sign with the Rays today, or the Yankees. Mike Moustakas back with the Royals this week. Shit, it's 3 weeks from real games. I don't have a job. Well, I'm gonna go take half of what I should have gotten had I taken someone's deal a month ago, and I'll play for half my market value.
We asked this though earlier, Dorf. Is anybody surprised that it kind of flamed out in Miami?
I don't think it necessarily did. He was still incredibly productive. I think it's just
6 sacks over the past, or less than 6 sacks.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think any defensive tackle, regardless of the production, is worth $23 million.
Well, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. But the Ndamukong Suh was supposed to be a dominating factor.
Right. Honestly, if you look at his Pro Football Focus metrics, man, he was. Just, yeah, he didn't put up the pass production statistics, but at the same time, you couldn't run the ball in the middle, which is still incredibly, incredibly huge value. And at the same time, you can play him in pass downs and still push the pocket. He wasn't just a 2-down plugger.
So was there something more to this then?
Oh, yeah, he's a cancer. Yeah. Locker room cancer.
There we go.
I think a locker room cancer. It's on the field cancer too.
I think that was kind of the louder than normal dog whistle that Miami was kind of putting out there when they said it was a culture change. Okay, culture change means we don't want to deal with this fucking asshole anymore.
Yeah. Where do you think Suh could end up?
He's
too early in the cycle.
Apparently, he was making a trip to Seattle. I don't know if that was
Seattle needs help at defensive tackle. I mean, I would have to go through my sheet.
He said he would play with Philadelphia for free. That's what he.
Philly is currently over the cap, so they're gonna.
That's why he's going to play for free.
Yeah, the CBA says no, sir,
for $1.
With that in mind, the free agent market is kind of flooded with good quality defensive tackles, which is going to drive down their essentially value because you can get 5 or 6 guys of equal talent or upper echelon defensive tackles who are all available this offseason. Those being Dontari Poe, Benny Logan's pretty good. Kyle Williams is a little bit older, but still a very productive defensive tackle. Sheldon Richardson, Star Latule, and Muhammad Wilkerson. Wilkerson and Latule kind of a little bit tarnished here.
I'd love to get Poe.
I wouldn't mind any of them.
That's what I'm saying.
The only thing is, if you're looking to sign Kyle Williams, you might as well look at Haloti Ngata. They're essentially the same player,
Right.
I really, really, really like Lions' chances here. I think they need to leave free agency with one of those guys in their back pocket. And that means you can avoid having to take a defensive tackle in the draft, or early at least. You can obviously take one late, but it means you don't have to take one potentially at all.
Well, that's why you've got to. That's why you got to avoid some of these, and I think you're going to get to it here in a minute. You got to avoid guys like any thought of a reunion with Ndamukong Suh, or any thought of going out and signing like a Richard Sherman or something like that, just because there's multiple areas here that you need to address.
Yeah,
whether it's defensive tackle or your running backs or whatever.
Apparently, it's a 2-team race with them for Malcolm Butler, corner, also formerly of the Patriots. Good player, very nice number 2. Could get expensive, but if the money's right, I wouldn't mind them investing some of their roughly $23 million of available money into Malcolm Butler. I think that would be a wise investment. Malcolm Butler, a defensive tackle, and some minimum salary depth pieces across the board. I think you have a very productive free agency right there. The Lions really don't have anybody they can cut to free up any more money. The only way you can really do that is you're going to have to give Ziggy Ansah a multi-year extension to get his cap number down. But I don't see that happening.
I don't even know if that's smart to do, considering his injury history or anything like that. So.
It isn't necessarily safe. I mean, you'd love to say, Ziggy would just want like a 3-year deal with only partial guaranteed money into the second year. But you know what he's going to say? Fuck you guys! I'm going to try free agency again next year.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get that. It's going to start at a 5-year deal at like $13 million per to get Ziggy done. And that sort of long-term exposure isn't worth saving the $4 million.
And especially when he's almost 30.
He is 30.
Yeah, so there you go.
Jesus Christ!
Remember, he was old.
Yeah, I know.
He was old coming out, and you knew that. But it's okay. I think he's 29. But either way,
close enough.
Any of these names of those defensive tackles I listed, any favorite that you'd like to have out of any of those guys?
Like I said, Poe.
I like Poe.
Yeah, I do like Poe.
I like them all.
I do like them all, but
Adam wants 6 of them.
I think.
Okay, Rod Marinelli keeping 6 defensive tackles.
I'm not saying get all 6 of them. I'm saying get one of them. That's what I'm saying.
My favorite, arguably most talented, coming off a down year, Sheldon Richardson. I really, really like Sheldon Richardson. Him and Ashawn Robinson in the middle. I would just start drooling.
And Robinson's is getting better and better.
He is. He leaves something to be desired against in the pass rush department. But do not run in his general direction.
No.
Nope.
Anything else on the lines, guys?
Nope.
All right. That's going to bring it to the cut room floor.
One thing.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Here we go.
One thing. Can they please pass on any notion of signing Trey Burton? Tight end. I mean,
but he throws the ball well.
The problem with that is you are going to be getting a guy who's probably going to end up costing more than Eric Ebron when he's
not quite as good as Eric Ebron,
or he's right there with Eric Ebron. So you're essentially paying more money.
Oh yeah, the other way you could save some money is also an Ebron extension.
What about? I saw this a while ago on like ESPN and stuff like that.
What, Sean?
The whole Jimmy Graham thing.
No,
I saw that and I started laughing about that.
Next,
I just want to see what you guys thought were. I thought it was funny. I thought it was dumb. But
what, the Lions signing?
Yeah, signing Jimmy. I was like, what? Why? I just thought that was
let him
dumb.
have his whole reunion with New Orleans.
Yeah, that'd be smart.
And have them
not interested.
And he can be their problem again.
Yeah, so. Have him not block anybody for somebody else. Cut room floor time. Francisco Liriano announced that he will make the opening day rotation.
And Sean asked that question to us today.
I did, and you guys didn't even respond.
Because I thought it was pretty obvious.
Some of us have jobs, man.
I do too.
It's obvious who's going to get bumped, and you answered your own question in that.
It's Dan Norris.
I know that sucks.
Dan Norris does a minor league options is not a bad bullpen option.
I was just saying, or would you just put Norris in the bullpen and then send down?
I think Norris makes your team no matter what, but in what capacity is up for debate.
No,
Matt Boyd turned in a solid start today.
Yeah.
The other guy, don't be surprised. Mike Fiers might get the shit can before the season even starts, flushing that $5 million a game down the drain.
Daniel Norris is too good. He's too good of a player to be wasting in the bullpen.
Okay.
I want him
especially
starting.
on a bad team.
Yes, I want him starting.
and figuring it out.
And if he's not starting with the Tigers, use his option, send him down.
You can
and
run
go
him
from
up and
there.
down all year.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay.
Couldn't they have done that with Jairus Labort too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I just want to get
Dorf going.
I want to get Dorf started with that.
Ah! Sorry for anybody who's wearing headphones. I'll just pull your eardrum out. God damn it. I don't get it.
Who's he with now?
The A's.
Oh, he's with the A's now?
Yeah.
No, I thought the A's released him.
Did the A's cut him too?
Yeah, I think the A's cut him
Oh,
too.
God damn it. Really?
I don't think he's on a team. I'm pretty sure the A's cut him too. I thought I saw
No,
him.
the Reds waved him right fucking away.
Or maybe I'm thinking of that.
Did
Maybe
he?
I'm thinking-
God damn it!
Did you just hire
They
him
did!
to work at
Yeah.
They DFA'd him too!
I was gonna say, it's like I thought I saw him.
Isn't he detailing RVs now in Wixom?
So there's something going on.
What the There's got to be something wrong with him.
Yeah.
There has to be something wrong.
Maybe sitting in the corner biting rats' heads off or something like that, and nobody wants to be around him.
Or maybe he's eating hats like Wilfredo Ledesma used to do.
Or maybe he's cutting up jerseys too, like Chris Sale.
I was gonna say, or is he Oogie or beating
Ugath Urbania.
Ugath people and setting his farm servants, slaves, workers on fire when they made him bad. Lions miss out on Richard Sherman, who was reportedly supposed to take a visit today, but never left San Francisco.
You know what? Reports are, though, that the Lions, Raiders, and somebody else had the chance to match it, but Lions specifically declined. Yeah. They don't have the cap space.
Right, I was going to say, that's where I was going to go.
They don't have the cap space, and at the same time, there's a pretty good chance he's not going to be ready to go to start the year.
Right. Not only that,
he's still battling that Achilles tendon.
He tore his Achilles tendon in 15.
I'm kind of confused though. As well, you know what? We'll be discussing a little bit though in Majors Live. So
all right.
I'll save it for that.
That's going to wrap it up, guys. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. This has been episode 164 of Motor City Uncut, presented by your Major Sports Network Detroit. Join us each and every week, 7 p.m. Eastern, live on Monday nights, or on the replay at the various different places you found us today, because we're on 7 of them. So for Adam and Sean, I am Dorf. We'll see you all next week.